Hey everyone, it's Allie, aka Some Catholic Chick, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do something a little bit different. I was originally going to make another video, but something happened to me recently that I want to share with you, which has inspired me to create a new project. So if you saw the title of this video, you know I'm talking about small miracles in this video. And honestly, I don't think any miracle is small. I think anything that would happen out of the ordinary in our lives that we would consider a miracle is big, it's significant. But I think sometimes so many things happen to us and to the people around us in the world that we don't even really notice a lot of the times, we don't pay attention to, but if we really think about it, we realize that there is something otherworldly going on. And I am sure I have missed many God moments in my life, but I know of two specific times for me that I felt like God really intervened. I was praying about something and I really felt that God answered my prayers in a significant, noticeable way. And I do really think it is important to talk about these less significant miracles in our day-to-day lives, because I think so many of us are looking for the sun to dance in the sky. We're looking for our rosaries to turn gold, or for our sicknesses to just disappear in order for us to notice God working in our lives. But so often I really do think He is working in our lives. It's just not massive, it's not the sky changing, and so because of that we don't really pay attention, we don't notice. So the first time that I can say that I really felt God's presence strongly in my life was when I was a senior in college and I was talking to this guy. I don't even know if that term is still used. I'm a hardcore millennial. I don't know what the Gen Zers are saying. But when I was in high school and college, we used the term talking to refer to a time when you were talking more, communicating more with a person that you were interested in getting romantically involved with, but it wasn't like you were dating. It really was just kind of talking through texting or hanging out in order to figure out if that person was going to be a good romantic partner for you. So it's kind of like pre-boyfriend, girlfriend. So anyway, I was talking to this guy and I did really like him a lot. Basically how I met him was through being an RA, and he told me pretty quickly, probably about a week and a half after knowing him, he told me that he was interested in me as more than a friend. And I was like, okay, I liked him, he was cute, he was funny, all of that. But I told him, I don't really know you at all. I haven't been friends with you for a while, so I would like to get to know you through hanging out, through talking, texting, whatever. And so we did that for several months. We hung out probably almost every day. We were in college, so it was very easy to do that. And I got to know him on that friendship level, which I would highly recommend everybody do before they enter into a relationship with someone. At least get to know them for a month or two before you actually call someone a boyfriend or girlfriend. And so the more I spent time with this person, the more I thought, yeah, like I will end up dating him. I really liked him, we had a great time together, and I will totally admit this was a time in my life where I didn't feel at that time that I wasn't strong in my faith. I was still going to church, I was still praying, but I really was far from God at that time. I wasn't really working on a personal relationship with Him, and I let a lot of things slide. For example, this guy that I was talking to was an atheist, and I knew he was an atheist, and he had already told me, I'm okay with you being Catholic, I'm okay with you being religious, it's just not for me. I'm not going to be going to church with you and everything. And I kind of decided that that was okay. And I can't tell anybody watching that if you are interested in someone who is either atheist or agnostic or already in a relationship with them, I am absolutely not saying that you can't have a successful relationship and that you can't have a strong relationship with God and a strong faith. But I do definitely think it is harder, and I think everyone would agree with that if that person that is so close with you is not sharing at least the Christian faith with you, I think it makes it a lot harder. But I do know people who have made it work, so you just kind of have to decide that for yourself. But anyway, this guy, he was kind of like a hateful atheist. He was someone who unfortunately had his grandmother pass away when he was younger, I think in his early teenage years, which I think especially for guys, that's a really hard period of life. And he was extremely close with his grandma, and she passed away from cancer, and he was very angry at that. And so honestly, I never said it to him, but I never felt that he was actually an atheist. It just felt more that he did believe in God, but he was just really, really unfortunately angry with God. But anyway, I knew all this about him, and I decided that it was still worth pursuing a relationship with him because it seemed like everything else was solid. And I was very upfront with him about my beliefs and my morality, and that was always something that, even at that time where I didn't really feel that close to God, I always held strong in that. And he said, yeah, that's fine, I respect it, okay. But then I distinctly remember, it was right before Thanksgiving, I remember talking to my mom and saying, yeah, I'm probably gonna have a boyfriend, like maybe you'll meet him when you come get me for Thanksgiving. So I was pretty much sure. I had been talking to him for about 3 months at that point, and I was pretty confident that I felt good about entering into a relationship with him. And then I will never forget, I was just going about my business, thinking about dating him and what that was going to be like and everything. And I very clearly heard in my head, like I had never heard before, and honestly have never heard since, no. I just heard, nope, like you're not gonna date this guy. And truly nothing had changed. This guy had not done anything different. It wasn't like his true self was coming out or anything like that. But all of a sudden I felt so sure in the fact that I wasn't gonna date him. It was not gonna happen. And unfortunately, when I told this guy I was not going to date him, he was not happy about it at all, so that's a whole other story. But all in all, it really ended up being absolutely the right move for both me and him. He ended up, I believe, marrying someone else, someone that he met probably about 3 to 6 months after I had kind of called it off between us. So he found his person, and then for me, it was about a month after calling it off with this guy that I actually met my husband, truly met my husband. I knew of him, he was also an RA, but we had never really hung out, we had never really spoken, and we kind of connected at that point. And I was kind of hanging out with him for a couple months before we decided to date, and I knew immediately that I was gonna marry this guy, and he felt the same about me. And if I had dated the other guy for even a few weeks, I would have missed my husband. So it's kind of incredible how God works in our lives, because sometimes we want to take control, because I was at that point where I was like, I'm a senior in college. I really did want to be in a serious relationship. And there had been previous situations where things had not worked out with guys. So I don't want to say I was desperate, because I didn't really feel desperate at the time, but I was desperate for a relationship. I was very much looking for a serious relationship. And so I was kind of trying to force the hand, I guess. And God was like, no, 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 your guy is waiting right around the bend if you would just hold up and be patient. And I really don't know how to explain it other than the fact that my mind was really quite blank, and no was just in my head. So that was so incredible. And like I said, I've never really heard the voice of God in my mind like that ever since. I've heard of other people, I've talked to other people that they say all the time, like, oh, God told me this, God told me that. And I can't personally say that I have had that by spending a lot of time in adoration and prayer. I have kind of come up with things in my own head that I feel like God put there, but still they're very much my own thoughts and ideas, if that makes sense. They're not someone else's voice in my head like this other time, like the time that God actually told me no. So that was my first major God moment in my life where I really felt like God was doing something right then and there. And then the other time was just a few days ago. I was actually at Mass with my mom and my dad, and I wasn't at my home parish. We were in Pittsburgh, PA, visiting my grandparents. My cousin had a grad party out in the area. And so the wonderful thing about being Catholic, there's never an excuse not to go to Mass, because the Mass is the same everywhere, all over the world. So we were at this random church. I'd only been there one time before, and very oddly, my jaw had been so unbelievably tight, very, very painful for me for about 2 days before that Sunday and also that Sunday morning. And I was just like sitting in church, like in pain, distracted. I couldn't really tell you what the gospel was saying that day. And I was really praying for what I always pray for, which is peace. I struggle with anxiety quite a bit, and that is a big reason why I think my jaw had kind of locked up. It's been a little bit of a stressful time lately, but I was having such a hard time just relaxing that area of my body, and it was like really kind of driving me nuts. And so I go up to communion, I receive the Eucharist, and immediately after I consumed the Eucharist, my pain went away. I can't say that I'm a new person now and that I don't have anything, but my jaw was so unbelievably tight and there was nothing I was doing, like I said, that was relieving that for me. And as soon as I received the Eucharist, all of that tension went away. Like, God truly healed me in that moment. And it's kind of funny because I didn't say anything at that time. It like totally was a huge light bulb in my head when the pain went away, of course, but I didn't say anything to my parents until a couple hours later, and my mom said that she was praying right before we went up to communion, and she was praying that whatever the three of us, she, my dad, and myself, were struggling with would be healed, would go away. And her prayers were answered, my prayers were answered, and I was relieved of that pain. So that was really an incredible moment for me because it truly was the moment that I consumed the Eucharist, the pain went away. So there's no question to me at all that God healed me. And so I tell you these stories because, like I said, I don't think we pay enough attention to these smaller miracles in our lives, although they do make massive changes. My pain was taken away and I didn't date a guy that I shouldn't have dated. And I'm sure there are many, many other times that God has spoken to me just as loudly, but I wasn't paying attention. And so I missed it and I didn't recognize that that really was from him. So I would really encourage you to kind of pause and reflect when things happen in your life, whether good and bad, and know that God is working in our lives, even if we don't feel close to him, even if we don't necessarily believe in him. God is working in all of our lives, and when we pause and think about it, I'm sure a lot of you have a couple stories of your own. And with that being said, the project that I really feel inspired to work on, and I have no idea how long it's gonna take, I'm not rushing anything, but I would love to collect stories like the ones that I just told you about the everyday miracles that people have experienced. Because like I said, if I have had these happen to me, I'm sure some things have happened to you and some things have happened to your family and friends. And so with that being said, I don't have enough stories to fill a book on my own, but if you have a story of a way that God has spoken to you, and a miracle that you have experienced in your life, go ahead and send me an email, and an email that is listed down in the description. I would love to hear from you, and of course you would be credited in my future book. So if you have a story and if you feel comfortable with me including it in my book, please send me an email. I would absolutely love to hear about all of the wonderful miracles that you all have experienced. But thank you all so much for watching. I really did feel compelled to share these stories, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it will help you pause in the future and kind of think about how God is really working in all of our lives and recognizing his presence in the day-to-day, not just in the huge sun-moving miracles. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.